1. They are loyal and dependable. What makes an Aries unique is the unflinching dedication towards close ones. If you can count yourself as being part of their life, you can rest assured that they will move the mountains and split the seas if anything were to happen. It's both a quality and a vulnerability. This fidelity and sense of loyalty go both ways, or at least that's their expectation. If anything happens to betray that trust, it will be very hard for them coming to terms with it and taking it for granted. Basically, an Aries is someone who either goes all out or doesn't go at all. Unless they feel like someone is deserving, they won't lift a finger in support. Furthermore, in an intimate relationship, things can get even more spicy and intense. Fiery passion and tremendous affection characterize these natives perfectly, and there aren't many quite like them around. 2. They are very different in love than in day-to-day life. Aries natives are the special people of the zodiac, in that they are incredibly spirited and dynamic individuals, almost singularly so amongst all others. With so much energy and impetuousness, there's bound to be emotional outbursts and table flips at times, but they generally know when to stop. Besides this, there are some things that one should really know if they are interested in or courting an Aries. Daring and courageous individuals, Aries natives have fire as their primordial element, and so what would have been weird was if they weren't so passionate and ardent in their pursuits. When in love, he acts as though nothing else matters and nothing is as important as the person in front of him. Your happiness is what he desires the most, and he would slash open the heavens to get that for you. Now that the good things have been said, it's time to take note of the bad ones as well. Being so implicated and consummate in a relationship, it's natural that they expect the same kind of devotion and affection back. If something upsets them, and it usually happens pretty quickly, the atmosphere will get very, let's say, messy. It's no fun to make an Aries angry at you because that's when things get ugly. Regardless of that, their fiery attitude and passionate behavior totally make up for occasional bouts and conflicts. 3. They are impatient risk takers. Aries natives have to be incredibly interested and intrigued by someone to stay with them. And it's certainly not easy to accomplish that, getting their attention, that is. With an uncanny predisposition for taking risks, going on adventures and pretty much doing anything that fills them with adrenaline, these individuals are hard to satisfy. But when they are satisfied, you can be sure that things will get very interesting from then on. They hate being repetitive and doing the same things on a daily basis. In other words, a routine is not their cup of tea, not by a long shot. Also, it has to be something pretty special that makes you unique, that would attract an Aries. Either that or just being able to match his pace and rock the world together. That would also work wonders. However, if they lose interest, one of two things can happen: they are going to break off and search for something more exciting, or they are going to break off and search for something more exciting. Yeah, there's really not a choice here. If something's not good enough for them, leaving is the only alternative. 4. They are jealous and dramatic. Everything an Aries does is straightforward and passionate. It might even look like aggressiveness or willful antagonism at times, but it's only their highly energetic and enthusiastic nature, nothing more. You might have guessed that another thing that they are good at is sex, or lovemaking if that suits you better. Given that fiery personality, it shouldn't come as a surprise anymore. They like to be in control and let loose every single desire and fantasy they ever had. It's really a fun, yet also risky endeavor to hook up with an Aries, but the pros should outnumber the cons. One thing is for sure though. Life with an Aries native will not be and will never be dull and tedious. 5. They seek competitions and adrenaline. Always in search of the next adventure, Aries natives are the types of guys that you see on television, doing bungee jumping, parachuting, deep diving, and more. You get the idea. They are basically thrill seekers, danger enthusiasts. They live life to the extreme, and it's next to impossible for them to spend a day without doing anything exciting and out of the norm. That is who they are, their identity, their very being. And that extends to day-to-day life as well, not only to the crazy things done on vacations or weekends. A friendly talk will, and I emphasize the word, will turn into a heated debate if an Aries is around. Whether the arguments are good or not, they will still keep their position, because admitting defeat is akin to losing their sense of self, that special spark of theirs. 6. It takes them a while to warm up to you. Hard to impress and even harder to intrigue, Aries natives are not the kind of people that fall in love at first sight. That's just a concept for them and not one that sounds good. However, while it is indeed quite a titanic endeavor to capture their hearts when that happens, it happens in a big way. You can be sure that nothing could ever stir their interest again after having been conquered. 7. They don't hold stuff against you. If it seemed that they are more adrenaline junkies in search of the next adventure, rather than sensitive and affectionate people, well, that's not the case. Beyond that enthusiastic and seemingly rough shell of theirs, there lies a deeper and more complex aspect. And that is emotion, intense feelings, and desires that most people hide. In a relationship, they don't hold grudges and are the first to bury the hatchet after the storm has subsided. Conflicts and arguments are easily put in the past because the present is way more exciting and interesting. 8. They are honest and frank. Another essential trait of an Aries native is sincerity. Regardless of whether you want to hear it or not, they will tell it to you nonetheless, just because telling the truth comes as natural as breathing to them. Besides being frank about most things, their behavior also reflects the same kind of uninhibited and direct attitude. Without a care in the world, an Aries native will always do what he feels like doing when he feels like doing it, and that's pretty much a distinctive trait of theirs. 9. They treasure their me time. While extremely compassionate and affectionate people, Aries natives will, however, prefer to spend some time alone, doing their thing. It's something they've always done and enjoyed, an integral part of themselves, and if the partner tries to break into that world, things will get complicated very quickly. Even more so when not in a relationship, Aries individuals will always make time for themselves and refill their batteries alone. So, it's certainly not a sign of lost interest or maybe even cheating that drives their action. It's only natural, and understanding that would be best.